Denominations. Required? What do they mean? What does the word mean? Are they important? What do they all believe? Why are there so many of them? And why do they keep growing in number and confusion? Welcome to episode probably 3 of our religious series on the Modern Kingsman podcast. How are we doing today, man?
Fantastic. We're doing fantastic. I love how you said probably.
So, we used some very in-depth research for the following conversation we're having here. So,
To preface that, we're talking about church denominations. This is the next episode in our religious series. And we're talking about church denominations.
Yes. Now, as we were prepping for this, some of these numbers here kind of shocked me.
Yeah, we're going to assume that these numbers are accurate, but we didn't verify them. So,
well, I mean, like this first number, 1.2 billion. How do you verify that? I don't have that much time on
the
my
internet.
hands. That's where we got this number.
I don't know, man.
All right. Okay. So, according to market research, we're just going to leave it there.
The most accurate market research.
The most accurate market research, as of early 2026, there are approximately
2.65 billion Christians globally.
2.65 billion, representing just shy of 1/3 of the Earth's population. That's a lot of people.
Yes. Christianity is the largest religion in the world. Grown roughly 2.5 billion in 2020. 2.5 billion.
That's a lot of people.
Yes. Anyway, so take this research with a grain of salt, as we have not verified these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about the different church denominations that exist, kind of a brief overview of what they believe, and kind of how they differ. We're talking about religion and Christianity specifically. We're trying to get into some of those details, and we feel like the different belief systems that exist within this religion are important for people to know. A lot of people do know about a lot of these different denominations, but they might not know exactly what they believe. You hear about them a lot, but that doesn't mean you know what they believe.
Mm-hmm. And our very, very general overviews do not remotely touch how deep each of these goes.
Absolutely.
Also, this is not the discussion about who's right.
Absolutely not. No.
So we're going to start with as the ones with who have the most members,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to work our way down a little bit.
Yes.
Because honestly, we don't have all the time in the world.
No, we don't. And we already spent some time discussing about Christianity in general. Mm-hmm. So we're going to, if you haven't seen that video, we're going to take those assumptions and apply them to all of these. We assume that all of these denominations have all of that in common.
Which, oddly enough, they don't.
Yes.
Which we'll probably get
interestingly, very interestingly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Who, now, this we all probably could have guessed, the largest denomination in Christendom are the Catholics.
Yep. Worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
they outnumber by a lot.
Yes. While I'm sure the U.S. numbers would probably be different,
Yes.
Catholics represent roughly 1.2 billion people.
That is a lot of people.
That's 48%, roughly, of all of Christendom has one unified belief.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but Catholicism is the oldest denomination in the Christian church.
So that is what is claimed here. If I'm not mistaken, as we kind of go through this, members of the Orthodox also claim basically
because they split from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gotcha.
I do believe there's some Coptic Christians there, but that's a really small minority here.
Yeah,
so we're
but
not
I
going
mean,
to.
they split, so I think
They
they don't get to count that.
Yes, so Catholics and Orthodox will probably be our oldest of those who are large enough to hit our spreadsheet today.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Now, do we want to take a moment to briefly discuss what the Catholic Church believes? Or do we want to go in order of the list and then do that?
I think we should go off the order of the list and then do that.
Okay.
Because there is so much here, like just to pick on the Catholics for 10 seconds here, they have a book in addition to the Bible just to explain their beliefs, which I kind of think it's kind of nice. It's like,
Yeah, so
it's
you don't
exactly
have
what
to
you
read
believe.
that book by watching this video. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. It was a joke.
The Catechism in 20 minutes by two people who are not Catholic. All right, going down the list here, as no surprise,
Number 2,
Protestants.
second largest denomination within the Christian Church. 629 million, 23.8%.
That one makes sense to me.
I do believe that. It actually is maybe a little bit lower than I would have thought.
Now, is that because you would have assumed the Catholics weren't as much?
Yeah,
'Cause I would have definitely assumed the Catholics were like a third.
the Catholic denomination is much higher. I shouldn't say much higher. It is higher than I expected. I knew it was going to be a big number, but I didn't quite expect it to be that large. But I did kind of think, especially the percentage, the 23%, I kind of thought would be a little bit higher for the Protestant church.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Because Protestants, that's, well, we're in the USA. That usually means Southern Baptists, Northern Baptists.
Yeah. Without like numbers in front of me, I would argue probably the Protestant denominations are the ones people probably affiliate with the most in the United States.
Absolutely.
It's the most common you're going to, aside from a Catholic church maybe, but I would see it even more so. A Protestant church is the one you're most likely going to see at your down the road on the corner of your block. Like that's probably going to be a Protestant church.
They usually have a good amount of backing historically. So like Southern Baptist Convention backs a lot of the churches, which I never understood why they're called Southern Baptists and we're in the North. Genuinely, that was always very confusing to me as a child.
What's a convention?
Yeah, it's not confusing as an adult, but as a kid, I'm like, why are we called Southern Baptists?
Anyway.
Fine. Next on the list here, we have...
The very vague.
Yeah, this is super vague. Non-denominational megachurch who all fall under the same category of independents.
So I think this is just a catch-all
Yeah,
for everything that doesn't fit on. I would bet I would be curious, but I would bet like the majority of that category is probably Protestant. They just don't want to claim to be Protestant.
They're Protestants with a cool website.
Yeah, which is why the 23% I think is low. Mm-hmm. But no, so apparently non-denominational, especially mega churches who don't want to affiliate with a specific denomination.
They don't want to be tied in with someone else's beliefs.
Yes. They are 15.5%, 409 million. Again, you could almost merge Protestant and independents.
Yeah, and actually, as we go through this, you're kind of going to see that a lot of people think you have Catholic, and then everybody else is non-Catholic.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
You could make an argument, which we might get into.
I wouldn't make that argument.
Some people might make the argument. All right, so we have Catholic, Protestant, Independent. Number 4 on our list, which actually represents a lot larger than I was expecting it to, the Orthodox.
Really? I would have expected that number to be maybe a little bit larger.
So it's at roughly 292 million, or 11% of Christendom.
Mm-hmm. And that is both the Eastern and Oriental Orthodox churches.
Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because I've never been to an Orthodox church. Like, I don't hear about them as often. I mean, I've been seeing some stuff online more recently, but, 1 in 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, and I think that's kind of the reason we're doing this video is so everyone's heard of Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, whether they realize it or not, have heard of some denomination of Protestant.
Mm-hmm. And most people are Protestant.
Yeah, in the United States,
Yep.
the prevailing denomination is a Protestant one, or one of the Protestant ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the independents, which is kind of obvious. It's just a church. But then the Orthodox Church is far less known, I feel like, than
Especially here.
Especially in the United States. From what I understand, it's much more prevalent in some other continents like Europe and the Middle East, maybe. Especially, I think, a lot in like Southern Europe. I don't know that to be fact. I'm just from memory. I feel like that it's maybe much more popular over there. But there are some fair amount of Orthodox churches in the United States. They're just far less common.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the final category here is just called unaffiliated Christians.
I honestly don't even know what that means.
Well, I'm sure we're going to scroll in a moment here and actually figure that out a little bit because I'm curious.
What's the difference between independent and unaffiliated?
You know, we're going to find that out. We're going to find that out because that's super interesting. We're doing a sidebar. Now I want to know. Okay, independent. Oh my golly. So the list we have has like real breakdowns. This actually will be kind of fun here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and
we're going to start back at the top.
Back at the top. From the top.
So, what does the Catholic Church believe? Because this could be vastly misunderstood.
So, their founding might be a good place to start. They claim to have been founded in the 1st century.
Arguably the oldest denomination.
They do believe in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, founded by Christ, and their first leader is Peter. We call him a pope. That would be a very general statement. To be Catholic means you are in communion with Rome, so which means you follow the teachings of the church and the pope.
And their specific beliefs on the sacraments.
Yes, and there are 7 of them. We're not going to go over all of those today.
No, we're not.
But, and again, each of these places here usually will have a form of unified belief.
Yes.
Now, that's actually quite difficult because there is no unified belief amongst Protestants. Not like a single book we can grab.
Yes, that I would say that's the biggest difference between Catholics and Protestants.
Probably Catholics and everybody else.
And everybody else. Yes, they're very unified in their belief system.
And I do believe there's quite a beauty in being unified. That's kind of remarkable.
Yeah, especially considering they are the oldest denomination.
Right.
So, but
Baptists don't claim to be the oldest at all.
it's because they're not.
Yeah. We're named after John the Baptist. Oh my gosh, what if we find out through this we're not named after John the Baptist? Like, what if it was like Jean Baptiste?
We're going to cut that out.
Okay.
Before we move on, I feel like we should mention the key points with that differ between Catholics and the rest of them. And I think the obvious one is the Pope.
That is a massive difference.
Yeah, so you have one individual figure who is massively influential over all of the entire Catholic Church, known as the Pope. That's one of that position or title is one of the defining characteristics of the Catholic Church compared to others. That is not found in any other denomination of Christian church, not Protestant, not non-denominational, nothing.
Yeah.
The closest you probably would have would be, well, that doesn't even count. The Mormons have their original founder, but there's no position filled afterwards like the Catholic Church.
Not at the same level. I do believe they do have a head of the church.
Right.
And a lot of organizations have like leaders.
Yes. Yeah,
but
like
not in the same way.
yeah, not
that
in
the
the
Catholics
same.
have the Pope.
Yes, yes. Also, well, we'll get into that later. But go ahead.
Okay. So Catholics actually break down into a couple different sections here. We're just going to lump all that to Catholic, Pope.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Number 2 here. Okay, see, this actually is going to get a little better. Protestantism.
Yep.
We're going to focus on the mainline Protestantism.
These are the churches that most people in the United States would be most familiar with.
Mm-hmm. You have General Baptists.
Yep. I think this is probably one of the largest denominations of Protestant churches.
Generally speaking, Baptists, on the whole, will believe sola scriptura, sola fide, priesthood of believers, no papal authority.
Yep. No Pope.
Mm-hmm. And the Reformation has a very strong heritage in all of Baptist belief.
Yep. At its core, the Baptist Church is your very old school Bible-believing church.
Yes.
Okay? They're all of the main things you grew up hearing about in Christianity without too much deviation from just the old school Christian theology.
Yep. If the Bible says it, it's true. Now, what that means, that's going to break down on the rest of the denominations.
Yes.
But I believe if we were that real summary there, sola scriptura, the Bible alone. That is very much a defining item of Baptist belief.
That and, well, define that a little bit so that people understand.
That all beliefs must be rooted in the Bible, specifically the 66 books.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'd be a summary.
Interestingly enough, you would think it, but the Baptist Church is not the denomination that believes that baptism is required for salvation.
Ooh.
That's just a little side note there that might be confusing, but the Baptist Church does not believe, this is kind of a defining factor, they do not believe that baptism is required for salvation.
Good note there.
So
Good
just
note.
a little note there.
So this breaks down Southern Baptists, Northern Baptists, Nigerian Baptists. Okay, then we get
There's
to
a bunch of Baptists.
Yeah, lots of Baptist conventions here. Okay, then we get to this next section here that most everyone's heard of, the Methodists and the Wesleyans.
Yep, we're going to combine those together.
Of course, that's John Wesley and Charles Wesley. Early 1700s, mid 1700s for their founding.
Very free will focusing church.
While they emphasize a lot of grace and works balance.
Yes. Yep. So unlike a lot of people in the Baptist church would go, it's all about the salvation. The Methodists have a little bit of that works theology intertwined in there. Maybe just a little bit more than some of the other denominations.
Oh, and I'll say on the Baptist side, very much a hard belief that faith alone.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that. I didn't want to get too deep in it. But yes, faith alone versus the Methodists sprinkle in a little bit of that works and sanctification more critically in there.
Wesleyan / Methodists also have a little more of a bend toward, like you said, entire sanctification. That's a deep theological discussion here.
Yep.
And a bit on the social justice side as well.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll leave them there on that one there.
Yeah, I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but their defining feature is that they are not exclusively free will only, and that they're not Calvinist.
We'll get to what that means hopefully today.
Yeah, but yes.
Also, one of the main items that differentiates them from General Baptists is Wesleyan and Methodist have women pastors.
Oh, yes. That's also another one.
Generally speaking, Baptists do not have that.
There are some variations to that, but as a general rule.
Yeah. Not women in ministry. That's different. But women pastors, that role specifically.
Yes.
Okay. Methodist. Lutheran.
Interesting. One of the lesser known, I would say.
Naturally, they claim their founder, Martin Luther.
No.
A huge focus here, justification by faith alone. Sacraments are a mean of grace, and sola scriptura.
Yep. For a moment here, in a lot of ways, the Lutheran Church reflects some of the Baptist belief systems. What's the key difference there between the Lutherans and the Baptist denominations?
That is a phenomenal question here.
I personally can't figure this out.
I feel like they have a bit more of an old school feel to them.
So the best way I can describe it from what I understand is that the Lutherans are the most Catholic non-Catholic, if that makes any sense.
So they have a big focus on tradition.
Yes, they have a big focus on tradition. They're very reverent focused in their services, their kind of policies and guidelines. They're very traditional speaking.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it. There's not like something specific. It'd be like Catholic without the Pope. But not quite. That's the best way I can describe it.
Okay. And you notice, we're not the experts here. We're just kind of exploring here because this is kind of fun.
Yep.
All right. And I'm skipping through some of these smaller ones here. Reformed/Presbyterian.
Yeah, that's an interesting denomination.
And the reason I brought it up here, they claim John Calvin as one of their founders.
This is different, though, than Calvinists. The
Is it
Calvinism.
really?
I don't know.
No, Calvinist. Yep. So these guys believe Calvinism.
Okay. So this is the Reformed, according to this, Presbyterian is the Calvinist denomination.
Yes.
Which I did not know. I thought they were two separate.
Interesting.
For those that are wondering, the ideology behind this denomination is, without a much, much deeper conversation, that predestination exists and plays a role. Essentially, that to some degree, events in your life have been predestined. That is their belief. That's what differs from a lot of the other denominations, who would say that you have full free will, or most of them would.
Way deeper for discussion.
Yes. Like I said, without getting way deeper into that, that's just like a base level.
All right, we are going now. Again, I know the Presbyterian Church and the Reformed Church are technically different. We have some limited time here.
Yes.
All right, Anglican claims to have been founded by Henry VIII's Act of Supremacy in England, 1534.
I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first Protestant denomination? I believe the Anglican Church was the first split of Protestant from the Catholic Church outside of, like, as the first Protestant denomination.
Interesting. I'd have to check with, oddly enough, I honestly would assume Lutheranism, but
so something to check here. But I'll say this without checking, I do believe the Anglican denomination was the first break from the Catholic Church as a Protestant denomination.
So whether or not so on this particular one here, it says Lutherans was 1517, followed by 1534, these guys.
Okay, so I could be incorrect then. The reason I say that is I remember a lot of the push behind the Anglican break from the Catholic Church in England was the King Henry's wanted more separation between church and state. That's a history lesson for another time.
Mm-hmm.
But he founded the Anglican Church to accomplish that goal.
As I'm going off of what this looks like here, they have a Catholic structure.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I was hearing someone talk recently, and they were saying how them and their wives, no, that's a different religion. Them and their wife were visiting a church. They walked into an absolutely beautiful cathedral
Mm-hmm.
and thought it was possibly a Catholic church. It was an Anglican church.
Yes, which is where that's why I was kind of thinking. I do believe they get a lot of their roots from the Catholic Church because a lot of the push for the split between the Catholic and Anglican Church was more political maybe than religious. Now, I'm not a historian. I don't know all of that to be for sure, but I do believe that has some influence.
Okay. So now we have the Orthodox churches, of which there are quite a few subcategories here.
There's a lot of different Orthodox churches.
We got the Russians, we got the Greeks, the Romanians. Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot. Now, one that I don't see on here.
Ooh, Orthodox see, Greek Orthodox claim 1st century for their roots, but more finalized in the 1850s.
No, I don't think they can claim that. They split.
Okay. So now we're into the Oriental side of Orthodox. Ethiopian, which I do believe is the ones who are holding the Ethiopian Bible. It's probably them.
Yeah, I would, for the topic of this discussion, I would just group the Orthodox Church together.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's why. So, I mentioned this one earlier. Coptic Orthodox, 1st century, Schism 451.
Via Mark.
So a lot of these ones here, the Orthodox really claim, generally speaking, quite early in Christendom.
I think that's a discussion for another time, probably. But it's a discussion between whether or not the Orthodox Church split from the Catholic Church or the Catholic Church split from the Orthodox Church. Mm-hmm. Because before that first split, it was just the church. There were no denominations.
There's a passage, I think it's in Acts, and it says like they got together, and it was referring to I don't know if it was Paul, Peter, and like the group who was still living, and they just talked through things, and it was like that'd be a really cool discussion to hear. Like they got together,
be a fly on the wall in that room,
just to hear them be like, guys, what? A blanket fell from heaven? What are you talking about? There was bacon? No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so these, pretty interesting stuff here.
So very early church. Orthodox has a lot of very early roots. Very, very early. For a lot of people that don't know, what's the main difference here between the Orthodox denomination and the Catholic and Protestant denominations?
I would say, well, if it's between them and the Catholics, they, generally speaking, Orthodox claim to be an original.
Okay.
But do not believe in the Pope.
Okay.
I believe it's a summary, because one thing the Catholics have with the Pope is, like we said, a unified belief.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if you don't have a unified belief, you can start spreading out a little bit.
Right.
You start introducing a few different things here, and then 1% per year for 1,000 years. You're off the beaten path.
So, the Orthodox Church is very similar to the Catholic Church, except their belief in the Pope. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's not the only item, but I believe
that is the main.
That's probably one of the main ones. I think a commonality. I believe they both claim the Eucharist.
Okay.
I think, and forgive me if I just jacked that up, but I believe they both claim Baptists call it communion.
Yeah.
So they claim communion is not metaphor.
It is literal,
Yes.
which we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I believe that's what. And if I'm wrong, thank you for the corrections, guys.
Yeah.
Now this next section here, this is interesting. I'm just going to take this at face value. We're in the independent, non-denominational set.
Before we get into the independence, what's the difference between so that people understand the difference between the Orthodox Church and the Protestant Church then?
Protestant Church is a reaction to Protestants come as a direct result of the actions of Martin Luther breaking off from the Catholic Church in the 1500s. Mm-hmm. 1500 sounds right. Forgive me. And the Orthodox basically say, no, we're an original. We're closer to year 1,
right?
Not year 1500.
So you start at year 1, and you have. This is some vague generalities, okay?
Yeah.
Catholics and Orthodox, mainly disagreeing on the role of the Pope.
Maybe that could be. I don't know when they split from there.
Okay.
But they both claim that history.
Okay.
To some level.
Okay.
But they don't claim.
Right. They didn't split at year 1.
Yeah.
To be clear, that's not what I was saying.
Sure.
But like those two.
Like if we were making a tree, Orthodox, they're going to be pretty close. They're not considered Protestant because they're not protesting the Catholic Church. They're a different organization as opposed to Martin Luther, who is protesting the Catholic Church.
Right. Yes. I got what you're saying.
Okay. Now this one here, the independent, it does list megachurch here, and it's saying that the mega churches were founded in 1983.
Oh boy. That's not a legitimate denomination.
Well,
mega church as a denomination is not a thing.
That's so funny. Megachurch as a denomination. Now this is interesting.
That was probably maybe when the first independent, non-denominational megachurch started.
Yeah, now some of these are interesting. I don't know enough about any of them to dive in. Hey, some names that we've heard before. You have the Church of Latter-day Saints, LDS, a.k.a. Mormons.
Yeah, the two biggest ones in here that people would recognize are the Seventh-day Adventists, the Mormons, and the Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
These are considered independent denominations. They're not Orthodox, they're not Catholic, and they're not Protestant.
Correct. And then this whole other section, and now that I'm reading the heading here, it's called cross-denominational movements. These are guys who kind of they like to pull from a lot of the others. Yeah, and as I'm reading the list here, it's kind of making sense to me. Number one, top one here, evangelicals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And even the evangelical movement is very well known in the Baptist faith.
I don't so this last section, the cross-denominational movements, I don't think these are denominations themselves.
No, this is movements within.
Yes, these are churches that have attributes of multiple, and therefore maybe don't fit quite so well into one specific denomination.
It's like evangelicals. You can be an evangelist or evangelism and still be with different sects. It wouldn't be too unusual for like Wesleyans and Baptists to be doing the same thing.
I do believe the evangelical church is its own.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is more of a movement because based on what I'm looking at here, but I can see how it could be its own thing.
No, I believe there is a
specific
church
one called
the evangelical church.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I could be incorrect, but I believe that's an actual. It's not a I don't believe it's its own denomination, but I do believe it's a church.
Okay.
Unit or whatever you want to call it.
So then we have the Pentecostals and Charismatics.
Yes.
These are the running down the aisles. A lot of energy.
Very open services.
Very much gifts of the Spirit?
Yes.
Would that
gifts
be?
of the, yes. Their defining feature is belief in the continual use of the gifts of the Spirit, specifically speaking in tongues.
That's a discussion for another day.
That is a
that'd be
discussion
fun.
for another time. But charismatics as an overview.
Okay.
The next one on this one would be the Assemblies of God, but that one's very similar to the Pentecostal.
They have some items in Pentecostal there.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a point in differentiating those.
Some of these get a little in the weeds without some expertise and study of them.
No, you have the only other one I would mention is you have this one here, which is the Assemblies of God.
Okay.
Or excuse me, not the Assemblies of God, the Church of God in Christ.
Okay.
Which I believe has, and I could be wrong, but I believe that has a lot of like Trinitarian beliefs.
Okay.
But essentially the idea some churches pull different beliefs of things like the Trinity, gifts of the Spirit, charismatics, and stuff like that, who are not necessarily fit within one denomination.
So, one thing that's probably worth noting here is it wrong that denominations exist?
No, I don't think it's wrong. Okay. What I do think is wrong is when people miss the opportunity to do the true work of Christians because they're too caught up in the differences in belief.
They could be majoring in the minors.
It's a very 20th century way of putting it, or 21st century way of putting it, but yeah.
Right. So, a good joke I always say with Calvinists is if they do something wrong, they didn't really have a choice. Now, here's the problem. I don't know, the finer points of the joke I just made. I just know the joke lands.
Really?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
I know, but I haven't done all the
Oh,
in-depth
I have a good
predestination.
friend who's a Calvinist.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Genuine question. If you just walked up and socked him, would he say, I can't be mad at you, you didn't have a choice?
No, he would hit me back, for sure.
It's not like he had a choice. So I believe that one of the best ways to learn and bond is a little bit of the tete-a-tete. The poke fun at each other. And through honest jesting, that's how you can learn better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because when you can when you can't joke with each other, you stop seeing the other person as someone you can joke with.
Nope.
You got to laugh.
Yep,
a little
absolutely.
bit here.
You can't be way too serious.
Right.
And you can tell that in the videos as we do them. That's our style.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun here. Even just going through this list, I was learning a ton here.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely. So both of us come from, for lack of a better terms, Baptist backgrounds. So some of these we don't know a ton about. We're still learning, especially like the Orthodox Church. I've never been to an Orthodox church. I don't know a ton about what they believe. But that's kind of the journey we're on here. And the point, or part of the point of why we're doing this series, is we're not only learning as we do this, but we're sharing with other people. So, yeah, there's plenty in here that we're learning as we go.
And it's real important if you are able to go into a discussion with someone about these. Because it is kind of fun. I mean, I know in the 90s it was kind of a thing, what kind of denomination were you? Oh, you're Methodist. Oh, you believe X, Y, Z. Oh, you're a Baptist. Oh, you believe this.
The Seventh-day Adventists don't wake up.
Yeah, so we have all this stuff here. If you are blessed enough to enter into a conversation, it's really helpful to assume the other person is being truthful.
Yes.
Don't walk in with a hammer. That's not going to go well. Ask them, what do you mean by that? Now, here's the thing also. Just because someone belongs to a church who claims one of these doesn't mean they believe everything that their church believes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that becomes real difficult. I mean, we talked about this before. I did a season, and I was part of a Wesleyan church.
Mm-hmm.
I, to this day, do not believe everything outlined in that doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote a letter as part of the membership, and they still accepted me as a member. Now, at that point, that would probably make me a Wesleyan, but I didn't believe all the Wesleyan things. So I don't know how to square that.
Yeah.
Because this is a really interesting item. Because just because you're a member of something, does that mean you believe it? Well, in another video we talked about, what does it mean? What are the core fundamental beliefs? Can you have one and not the other? Which is it a cookie cutter? Is it a whole pizza?
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot more that goes into this. At the end of the day, if you're on an individual one-on-one or two-on-one here, focus on the person.
Yep. Focus on the person. But it's also good to know where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. So understanding these different denominations, if you sit down with someone who goes to a church that believes in Calvinism, you can understand their point of view because you know a little bit about the background that they're a part of. And that's the whole point of why we're trying to introduce these and share a little bit about these. Because it's not about, this denomination is right or this denomination is wrong. That's not what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, that's not today's video.
What we're just saying is this is the denominations that exist. This is what they believe, and this is the differences between them, so that you can know what they are and what they believe.
And a lot of this, Google it. You know what? Don't Google it. Grok it. You know what? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nope, I'm changing it. You got to change the whole verb now. Because I don't use Google.
It doesn't run. It doesn't rhyme. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well.
Yeah, give it time. Give it time. But just do a search. This is not difficult to find.
No.
But also verify. Because just because the internet says one place believes one thing, double check it.
Yeah.
You can actually go talk to the people who are practicing that sector of the faith, but then also ask them, what's your source? And that's actually where it gets real interesting.
Yeah.
Like would we call the church we attended non-denominational somewhat?
It technically did not conform to any specific denomination, so it would fall under a non-denominational church.
Okay. While it didn't perfectly conform, relatively sure we borrowed information from somewhere else
For
some of the beliefs of the doctrine.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, we all kind of, there was so much of a smattering of a lot of, good things here.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to really narrow it down, and this is real iron sharpen iron. Because everyone it's better to assume the people who you're talking to actually want to know the truth.
Absolutely.
Not all of them do. Absolutely not. But it is helpful to believe that.
Yeah.
Because who knows? Let's say if one of the denominations is correct, then you really would hope that the people of that denomination would love you enough to talk to you about it.
Absolutely. And I would say we can sit here and we can talk about the denominations, but walk into the church at the corner of your block.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've never been to a Lutheran church and you're like, I want to know more about the Lutheran church, then go talk with the people at the Lutheran church or the pastor at the Lutheran church.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just believe everything you see online.
Mm-hmm.
Do your own research. And, it's important things to know.
And this is a lot of fun. This can be fun. Yes, you can get a little bit spirited, but, do it. Ask the Lord to go before you, guide your path, guide your conversation. But this could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
You never know what kind of friend you're going to bump into. Quick story on this. Years ago, I was on a plane ride back here to home.
Mm-hmm.
On the plane, I sat next to a gentleman and ended up in a 2.5 to 3 hour religious debate.
Very nice.
We are two different denominations. 5 years later, I end up in the same church that he is.
That is fantastic.
And I sent him a text as a joke of, hey, I visited a church recently. He's like, oh, this church? I'm there. And I'm like, oh, no, he might have won the discussion. But no, have some fun here.
Mm-hmm. Never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Pursue the truth. Praise our Lord. And go and be the light.
Be the light.